Webinars are one of the best ways to get more leads, more sales, and more great affiliates. They're also an easy way to promote something that benefits your audience. Today, I'll share how you can use affiliate webinars to grow your business. Welcome to the Affiliate Guy podcast. If you want to grow your income, serve your tribe, and enjoy all the benefits of affiliate marketing and having your own affiliates, you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me today. Let's get started. So I did a promo back in the fall of 2001, I think, that was a little bit different than what we usually promote. And, it didn't really kind of square up exactly with my niche, and I wanted to we did some private content for a small group of our audience where we discussed that. First of all, promoting something that's a little bit outside of your niche. How do you do that? But how do you tie it into your niche? And we talk about that in this episode. We also talk about webinars from both ways. Why promoting JV webinars, affiliate webinars, is one of the quickest ways to grow your list, how to use it to get affiliates to promote you. We also talk about in this episode, what you should ask affiliate managers and what you should ask your partners for so that you can have the best promotion. And then we also talk about how to use Encore webinars to, quite frankly, double or triple your sales. We've found some success with that. We've had issues with that in the past. And so we cover a lot in this episode. This was originally a private kind of behind the scenes lesson for some of our members, but we wanted to open it up to the public here on the podcast. I'm super excited to share this because I think there's just a ton of lessons inside of this one big lesson. So again, ultimately, it's all about how to use webinars to grow your business, how to use affiliate webinars to grow your business. And I mentioned before, I think it was 4 or 5 episodes ago, I said, hey, if you want to know kind of our framework for webinars, I've done 2 live webinars, really small, intentionally really small. These are both brand new webinars. Well, not brand new, they've tweaked webinars, but we've made some tweaks. And the one we closed 17% of live attendees. The most recent one we closed we almost hit 25%. If we'd had one less person on, we would have closed 25%. So we're really killing it with these webinars. They're converting extremely well. And if you want to know how we do it, then shoot me a text at 260-217-4619. And if I get enough people who text me, it's going to have to be at least a 2 episode, probably 3 episode, might even have to do an entire month. And it would be next March. It would be a while from now because we've got content planned through, when do we have content planned through? Right now, looks like we've got our content for the podcast planned through March 28th of next year. So it would be next April. So go ahead, almost a year from now. Just crazy to think about that. What is that? That's, don't know when this one's going to go live, but that's 7 months from now. But either way, text me at 260-217-4619, and I'll probably do a series. And plus, I'll have a little bit more dialed in right then. I'll do a series on what we're doing in webinars that's converting. So if you're interested, let me know about that. With that, I'm going to cut to this private interview that I did with Robbie Miles, who's our operations manager on our team, about this webinar promotion that we did. So we talked about it from all the different angles. Again, the angle of promoting something outside your niche, but also, working with affiliates on your webinars and being an affiliate on your webinar. We share tons of tips in there. So listen up and learn because I think this is some valuable stuff. So there were some revelations for us that we share in this episode. So listen up and learn. And do me a favor, at the end of this episode, shoot me a text. Again, 260-217-4619. We'll put that in the show notes as well. And let me know your biggest takeaway. I'd love to hear from you. All right, let me cut to that interview now. So welcome back to another Backstage Pass. We're going to take you on a deep dive into a recent affiliate promo, unlike any other affiliate promo that we've ever done, that we did just about a month ago or so. And well, we're going to be doing it again soon. We'll talk about that at the end. So I want to welcome Robbie Miles on our team, who is our head of operations and the guy who, well, quite frankly, anytime we do one of these Backstage Passes and we look back at, here's what we learned and here's what we did, he's the guy that remembers it all. And then I just stand here and talk about it. So Robbie, welcome, man.
Hey, it's easy to remember things when you have pen and paper around. So,
well, that's Robbie's skill set. For those who don't know, and we did a Facebook Live recently, and I think somebody said, "Oh, so the business secret is I need a Robbie." And I was like, "Yeah." And I think you said, "Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Just not
yes,
this
you
one,
do.
just not this one." And so, but it is true. That's not my skill set, the organizational side of things. And so we have a Robbie, whose name ironically is Robbie, and he keeps us on track. So, Robbie, I'm excited about today because we're talking about the affiliate program that we did recently. So, as we're recording this in December, and I believe it'll go live for you guys in December, this is a promo we did a little bit over a month ago. So, it's still really fresh in our minds. And it's really outside of my niche. That's actually the cool thing about it. It makes me really excited to talk about this. And there's some things that we did that we've never had to do before that are lessons for you, things that we did that we've had to do before that are lessons for you guys. And I'm just really excited to share this. So I'm going to jump right in and explain the promo real quick and kind of the backstory to it. So as you may notice, if you watched some of the original AIM backstage passes, I look a little bit different than I did in the original ones. And I think we launched AIM, if I'm not mistaken, we launched AIM when I was a wee bit into my weight loss journey, but not way into it.
Yeah, just a couple months, if I remember.
I think because we pre-recorded some of the content. Some of the content would have been about 2.5 months in. So I'd probably lost about 20-ish pounds at that point. But it's still come a long, long way since then. In total, my doctor says about 88 pounds of fat is roughly probably about 91, 92 by now. And the reason I say of fat is because I've only lost 56 pounds or something, but I've also put on some muscle. And so, that's why he says about 80 something pounds of fat there. And, the revelation that I had earlier this year was just, we teach so much about marketing techniques and marketing strategies and marketing, affiliate marketing, how to make more money, how to monetize, how to have more influence and impact in the world. Those are all great things. But for many people, their weight is holding them back. I can teach you all the best marketing strategies. I can teach you all the best email copy. I can teach you how to be confident on camera. There's one for you. How to be confident. Newsflash, I was never confident on camera before. I did them. I produced videos, some really good videos, some impactful and life-changing videos for people. I was never confident on camera. I am now. And so I realized that you can have all the best stuff, but if you're just not confident in just, who you are, and appearance isn't everything, but it's just a part of who we are. I mean, the example I've used when I talk to people about this is there's the old joke or thing, you picture the audience naked, right? If you're nervous, what if you were naked? I don't care. It's not about looking good or anything. You want to tell me, okay, we'll go your boxers, right? What's my friend? Skivvies. Your skivvies, yeah. If you had to go up on stage, I don't care if you look amazing, right? And you had to go up on stage and deliver a talk about marketing or gardening or productivity or high performance or being a real estate agent in your underwear, would you be comfortable? Well, it's just your appearance. I mean, all that matters, right, is the content. No, your appearance does matter. If you had to go up, you're going to deliver a presentation to a group full of, professional real estate agents, for an example, and you went up there and you had a green mohawk, one of those greens and piercings all over your face and you're covered in tattoos, and you're going to talk about generating more real estate leads, your appearance is going to detract and distract from the message. So appearance does matter. And I said to Alan Thomas, my friend and now a coach, my weight loss coach, said, this is holding me back. This weight is holding me back. And the revelation I had a few months ago, Robbie, was this is affecting other people. And so I asked Alan. Alan's in our Start Mastermind, and he's just getting started with this platform. He's been at it for about a year. He's coaching, people just like me and helping them. I mean, he's helped men lose literally thousands of pounds now. He himself lost 130 pounds a while back. Yeah. And I said, we need to teach this stuff. We need to help people. So I invited him to do a webinar with me. And so today what we're talking about is a few things. Number one, we're going to talk about promoting outside your niche, because this is definitely outside my core content, but we were able to tie it in.
You mean this isn't just marketing and affiliates and, growing affiliates programs and
Yeah. I mean, it's just so far out there. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about promoting new JV partners. This was Alan's first ever JV webinar, and he did it with us, and he was terrified. And he didn't know anything. Like, he didn't know what to give us or what to do. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about things to ask for when you're promoting a JV webinar. We're going to talk about that from our perspective. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how to do it again, how to do an encore, which is what we're doing with Alan in January. So Robbie, let's start with kind of the outside your niche thing. I think this is important. And I sort of said this when I was introing this and giving the backstory, is there's two places your audience can be. They can be past your core content, or they can be before your core content, or they can just actually three places. They can be parallel to your core content. I think in your world, you're the productivity guy, and yet you have a new thing out called the Better Men or Better Man. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, the Better Men Project.
Better Men Project. Okay, yeah, I was pretty confident, but I did, and you have this thing called the Better Men. Now, this is your own thing, but it's not in like core productivity lane.
It's not.
It's on the side of it, though. We would not dispute that if you have better family relations, if you get in less fights with your wife, if your children are more obedient and just you have more peace in the home, then you're going to be more productive. I mean, I don't think anybody would go, no, that's too far.
Yeah, exactly. Or vice versa. If you're more productive at work, you have more time to focus on family at home. Like, it goes both ways, but they're not the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And so I think, first of all, we can look at those areas where they're tangential, they are related. There's maybe something that's keeping them from getting to the level that you're teaching at with your products or the products. Maybe you have a physical product or a coaching service or something, and there are things that need to get them to that point. The same thing is true. Maybe they've progressed a little bit past your core content. Well, what are you going to do? You have two options. You can be like, hey, bye. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. You can let them go and just whatever. You lost a really enthusiastic person. Or you can make offers to them and not only serve them, that's definitely the most important part, but also instead of making $0 going forward, you make lots of dollars going forward. I don't know, which one would you rather have? And so we looked at it from the perspective more of, we're getting people to build a business. We're getting people to build a platform to learn, again, how to do videos, do podcasting, write emails, build an affiliate marketing business, build side income, make their first $1,000 or first $10,000 to go full time, start an affiliate program and all those things. It can't happen if you're not confident until you are. So we do talk a lot about personal growth. And this was a part of personal growth. The other thing, and we were talking about this before we started recording, is there's an opportunity, no matter what niche you're in, to tell your audience, here's a product that has completely transformed my business. I think you should check it out. One of the good examples we were talking about was Kathy Hay. Kathy is in I don't even know what they call the niche. It's like the period costumes.
Yeah, that's
specifically with what are those things called?
Corsets.
Corsets, yeah. So corsets from the 100 and some odd years ago, right? I mean, I literally know nothing about the industry and quite frankly don't care. It's like a very niche thing. And yet she was like the number 6 or 7, I believe, affiliate partner for Jeff Walker's product launch formula, which you could not find a course that would define internet marketing as it is today more than PLF.
Right.
And she was the 6th or 7th affiliate. Her audience,
against some of the biggest people in the internet marketing space, and teaching corsets
with all women who want to know how to make period piece corsets. How do you make that leap? Very simple. She said, hey, I know some people in my audience. I mean, by definition, most niches, no matter what niche you're in the productivity niche. Robbie, you have people who are entrepreneurs. You have people who are middle managers, people who are CEOs, people who are low level, people who are students, and they want to be more productive. Like about the Better Men Project. How do you pitch that? Well, because I'm going to guess roughly half your audience is male and half your audience is female. It might be skewed. It might be 60-40. I'm just saying, but just if you want to know, people who want to be more productive, and you just go pull over 100 random people, guess what? About 51 of them are going to be men or women, and the other 49 or 51 are going to be the other, That's duh, right? But you said, I know at least half my audience is men. And I also know that a large percentage of my audience is married and or with children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just statistically, probable. You wouldn't even have to show me a survey, Robbie, and I could probably guess that of your audience, 39% of them are married men with children. Okay. I'm probably right within about 6 to 7%,
Actually, according to the survey, it's higher.
Are married men with children. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she knew.
Well, because who follows you? Who follows anybody? Somebody who is usually striving to be or to get to where that person is.
I don't do a great job of attracting 27-year-old single dudes. Yeah. And I'm cool, because that's not my audience.
Right.
I've said this many times, like I have no desire to be the marketing guy who's holding up the big check from Google that doesn't cast a shadow. Yeah, I may or may not be talking about a very specific famous marketer out there who got caught doing that years ago. He was like, look at me, this is my $100,000 plus check from Google. Yeah, there's no shadow, dude. You have to look that up. There's like him by his Lambo that he got from Hertz.
Right.
Yeah,
But yeah, so like Kathy, like she teaches corsets, and like that's specifically what I know most of her product is about. And somehow
it's literally all she talks about.
Yeah.
But if you think about this,
in this internet marketing space, boom.
Some percentage of her audience is entrepreneurs. Some percentage of her audience is aspiring entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And from the get-go, and I'm assuming she did this because, I know she does some of the stuff that we teach, which is when you promote something like this, you say up front, hey, I'm going to be talking about this thing. It's not what I normally talk about. If you're not interested, click here, and I'm not going to say anything else about it to you.
Yeah.
And then you create an opt-out for them. In our system, ConvertKit, we highly recommend if you're not on ConvertKit that you switch to ConvertKit. We'll put a link. Robbie's making a note right now to link. I can tell he's making a note right now to link, below the video to ConvertKit. You can get a free trial of up to like 1,000 subscribers. I think, is that right?
500. Yep, it is. Yeah,
1,000. Yeah. So you can get 1,000 subscribers for free. Even if you're well above that, it's super affordable. It's probably the most affordable for the bells and whistles it has. It's quite frankly, I think it's cheap, and I hate that word. It's inexpensive. It's probably a better word.
Yes.
Very inexpensive. And so in ConvertKit, you can literally just, when they click this link, it just tags them. Like, not interested in PLF, not going to email them about that anymore. Cool. So she did that on the front end, probably knocked out 10% of her list right away. That's awesome because now she doesn't have to worry about them. And she talked about a product that impacted her. That was the big thing. With me, I was talking about something that I said this genuinely, of course, but I said this like, I realized up front, half the people, you look at statistics, we look at them and go, man, half the country's obese. Guess what? Well, half the country's not. So right there, I know my audience is probably a cross-section of the population, maybe even slightly skewed towards less obese because, they're high performers. So I know 50 to 60% of my audience doesn't care about this at all. And that's totally fine. They can click the link. I'm never going to email them about Alan's stuff again. And I'm glad when people click that because first of all, it means they don't need it or they're in denial. That could be the other issue. But I don't have to worry about sending more emails and more emails and more emails promoting this. So that's number one. And then number two, I was just open and honest and, hey, this made a big difference for me. If you were doing a free webinar with Alan, he's going to teach you some of these things. If this sounds interesting to you, I think you should attend. And I think, and some people attended. So it was kind of awesome.
Yeah. And that's interesting. We didn't have this in the bullet points or anything, but, you presented it really, it was genuine. Like you just wanted to help people. You said, hey, this drastically changed my life. It changed my life. It changed my business. It changed my relationships. And I think that it'll help you too. And that was really neat to see. There wasn't a huge push like, get to this webinar, make your $10,000 now, or, whatever else, all that kind of in your face internet marketing. And, sometimes we push that when we're in a big launch or something like that. But this was just like, it felt more like what we talk about asks and gives. This felt more like a give in the marketing. It was, hey, we want to help you.
Yeah, man, I think what you just said kind of reminded me that like the way that we were able to market this was just telling my story. All I did was just tell the story. That's all I'm assuming. Again, I didn't watch her campaign, but I'm assuming that's all that Kathy did. Or literally, you look at anything where people are promoting things that are quote unquote outside of their niche, and they're just telling their story about how this thing helped them or why they might need this thing. I think the other important thing is, again, when you care about your audience, like I cared more about serving my audience and saying like, no, I get that this isn't the norm. This is not the norm. And again, you acknowledge that when you're promoting stuff. The lesson here is when you're promoting things that are outside of your niche or they're out to the size of more, you got to acknowledge the fact that it is. I didn't come out and say, this is right on par with, I didn't come out and I tried to do that. Like, I never sent an email like, hey, this is my normal thing today. No, I didn't send an email going like just out of left field, like where people are going, wait, why is he talking about this? You have to explain why you're talking about things. When I send an email and say, hey, I just did a new podcast and we're talking about how to find affiliates, nobody goes, why would he send me that? And that's what you signed up for, But when you are sending something that's not that, you have to explain it. There has to be that backstory. So we started off the very first email, if I remember correctly, as, hey, this was me 15 months ago. Yeah. This is me now. Like very visual, but also, okay, he's going somewhere with this. And here's how I did it. And then we positioned Alan and we told Alan's story. We said, hey, if this sounds like it might be helpful to you, then it's going to be helpful to you. If you believe that your weight's holding you back, you need to come to this. If you believe that this could potentially transform your life, then come to this. That story is what is super important. Now, if I didn't have that story, but I knew Alan, because now he's reaching out, we're encouraging him. He's in our mastermind. So one of the things that we talked about is like, dude, you got to be, I told him, I want you to spend 20 hours a week reaching out to potential JV partners. All these other people who aren't affected by him, he's not coaching them, but they know his story. And so they can say, hey, my friend Alan lost 129 pounds in whatever's like 300 days or something. He went from being obese for 2 decades to being a very, fit man in less than a year. And he said to me that, his weight was holding him back. Well, if it's holding you back, blah, 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 and now you can basically tell the exact same, the marketing can be the exact same from that point forward. It was a little bit easier because I had the personal story. And so look for those products where if they're outside of your niche, but you believe that they have transformed something that you've done. I think of like Kara Andretta teaches cake decorating. She was a top 20 partner for Michael Hyatt's goal setting course. It makes sense when you did really well in that, a few years ago. That makes sense. Yeah. You're the productivity guy, goal setting, 2 peas in a pod, right? No idea why I did that voice.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada boom, bada bing, Hey, they go together like peanut butter and tuna fish, And it makes sense. But cake decorating and goal setting? Like, well, who's her audience? Entrepreneurs who are cake decorators. Entrepreneurs need to what? Set goals. It's off to the side, but it definitely makes sense if she explains. If she just came out right away and said, hey, Michael Hyatt released a new thing all about goal setting, then I'm sorry, what? But if she explains it in the context and introduces it softly, then transitions into the quote unquote normal marketing, very effective. So we talked about at the beginning, we talked about how Alan had never promoted a JV offer before.
Yeah.
And we've never really promoted anything that was this far outside of our lane. So one of the cool things that this can apply both ways. We really try to focus on being an affiliate inside of AIM. But I'll just give you this tip that one of the best ways to find affiliates is to be an affiliate, and to basically do webinar swaps. Now, we're not doing that with Alan. I did this, on some level for him, to be perfectly transparent. Again, he's in our mastermind. He's a dear friend and he's completely changed my life. So there's no like, Alan, you got to promote our affiliate marketing stuff to your audience. Now, like that's not on the table at all. If he chooses to, great. But I've never once asked him to do that. But finding those people who maybe where you're both doing it for the first time, finding those people where you both have a small list. Maybe you both have a list of 700, 800, 900 people. I think Alan's list before this was under 800. I think it was like 750 people. Typically, we partner when we promote people, they're people with lists of 200,000, 100,000, maybe 35,000 on the small end. But there is an opportunity when you're first starting out to look for partners both ways that are much smaller. For one, when you're doing these webinars, like if this had been, let's just say this was our very first affiliate promo. Did I want to do it where I'm doing it with, somebody who's got a certain level of expectation? Let's say we had 800 people on our list. The reality is, if you have 800 people on your list, we're probably going to get like 10 people to show up for the webinar, maybe 15. I don't want to have 15 people on somebody's list who's used to having 1,000. Right. And so there's a certain level there. The other thing for him is he doesn't want to be on a webinar where there's 1,000 people, and you don't either if you've never done one before. You want to be on where there's 10 or 15 or 20 people. And so it's an opportunity for you to work your way in.
I was going to say, and you talk about this all the time within Start, and a lot of that's getting in your reps. And how do you get in your reps is you do that at a smaller level, a practice level. And not that it wasn't professional, what you got, the webinar that you guys did, but because it was a smaller audience, it's a great opportunity to practice your professionalism at that smaller level. So, and now as he does this again and again and again, that webinar is just going to get better and better and better and better. And so are the products that he puts together for it.
Yeah. And if you're doing a webinar, again, we're speaking more from the, finding affiliate side here, but just think about it this way. Like I see so many times, I just got to go out and I got to get that one. If I could just get that one person, it's like the author saying, if I could just get on Oprah.
Right.
What if Tim Ferriss had just waited to get on Oprah, or J.K. Rowling had waited to get on Oprah? Like we would never have heard of either one of them. So rather than get on Oprah, what if you're on, WKCL in Denton, Texas? Just trying to pick a random place. Then you're on ABC on, and I think that's in New York City, so that's a bad example, but you're on some podunk, in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and you're going, one by one, and people are like, well, that's just harder than getting the one. Well, do you have the one? Did you get on Oprah? How much longer is it going to take you to get on Oprah? And why would Oprah have somebody on who hasn't even, like, you get on and you're like, oh, I don't even know what to say because I've never done it before. Then you go on Oprah after you've been on 300 radio interviews and you're like, boom, got my talking points, I'm in. You got your stories down, all that stuff. And so that's what we talk about with the reps. It's like, do the smaller ones. You want to get in front of, everybody wants to do the one webinar with 4,000 people. Oh man, I just want to do a webinar with 4,000 people on it. How about just do 40 webinars with 100 people? Here's the deal. You're much more likely to get one with 4,000 people if you've done 40 with 100, or even 80 with 50, or 120 with 33.3 people, or 200 with 20 people. And you'll be a million times better. So I'm going to tell you guys, again, getting a little bit off track here, but here's what I told Alan afterwards. I said, go do it again and again and again. I said, dude, if I were you, initially I told him, I was like, every Thursday I would be doing a webinar. I don't care if it's for your internal audience and you have 6 people on, or if it's a JV webinar and you have 2 people on or 30 people on or whatever. Just get in the reps, get in the reps, get in the reps. And then I was like, you know what? Thursday's not enough. I said, you got to get this like really cranked up. I said, I would be doing an internal webinar every Tuesday, come hell or high water. I would probably be doing one on Wednesday to your paid traffic. And then I'd be doing one on Thursday with the JV. And I said, I don't care if you're JVing with like one of your clients who does nothing but post it on his personal Facebook page and 9 people show up. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every single week. I said, it only takes about 10 weeks before you got 30 reps in. And you started to refine those stories. And then like I was sharing with him, and I'll share with you guys, like the little things, like we've done this where, I don't know, I was doing a presentation that I've done 5 times. And then suddenly I said something. And when I said it, I leaned in like this. And we went, ooh, that was good. So now what does it say in the script? Lean in. Because if I don't put it in the script, I'm never going to personally remember to do that again. I might do it randomly, just thinking about it, I might just go like that. But the only reason I did that was like just that morning I'd been watching Zig Ziglar, and he does that move when he asks a deep question, and it's the same thing. He puts the arm over and he leans in like that and asks the question. If he was speaking on a stage, he would get down on one knee, always the same way. And it was the same move. So I had it somewhere in my subconscious, but when I deliver it 2 weeks later, I might not even think about that. So now it says in the script. Now, when we studied what I did, we noticed there were parts where suddenly I started talking a little bit faster because I was really excited, but I actually needed to pause between sentences and give the audience some time to think about what I was saying. Like even just there, I slowed down. You don't know those things until you've just gotten in the reps and observed and studied and watched your own presentations. And so that's the beauty of working with small partners both ways. The cool thing is it's also a heck of a lot easier to get somebody who's got 1,000 people on their list to say, yeah, I'll host a webinar with you and you can host one with me. And it's a lot easier to get them to switch. And then, you get your reps in, but also they host a webinar with you and you grow your list by 50 people like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're starting out, there's very little you can do in an hour of your time to get 50 people on your list. Because even if they don't show up, they're on your list. I don't know what most of you, when you're starting out, can do with an hour of your time to get 50 people on your list. Please tell me. I'm asking for a friend.
We'll add it to list launch challenge.
Dude, here's the deal. 8 hours a day, that's 400 subscribers a day. There are not many people out there adding 400 qualified people on their list every single day.
Exactly.
So even if you say, oh, I only added 50 people in my list, I want to work with the big boys. Well, work with the small, and then, do 10 of those and then go up to people with 2,000 people, and then 3,000, work your way up. Because here's the thing. If you do 10 of those, let's say you have 500 people on your list, and you do 10 with and you get 50 subscribers. Now you have 1,000 subscribers. A little bit of attrition, but just work with me here. Now you can go after people who've got slightly bigger lists because you've got something to offer. Now they're sending 80. You do 10 of those, you've got 1,800 subscribers. Even with attrition, you got 1,500. Now you've got more to offer somebody with 2,000. They're sending 100. You do 10 of those. Now you got 2,500. You got something to offer somebody with 3,000. They'll send you 125 and so on. And now you're only having to do 8 of them to get to another 1,000. And then so on and so forth.
And on the affiliate side there, it's important to remember that, you're getting your reps in too. If they bring you on at all, you're getting in front of, your audience in a way that serves them.
Mm-hmm.
Plus you are practicing that webinar thing. That way, when you grow your business to that point, you will know how to do it, how to host the webinars, how to, use the training. You will have seen the webinars enough that, especially the more different programs that you can work with, you'll start to understand what you like and what connects with you and what you can put into your webinars in the future, which,
That's a really good point. I mean, you're attending webinars and learning from them and seeing how your audience, it's not just, it's different when you attend a webinar.
Right.
As an attendee, because you're trying to learn stuff, right? When you're on there and you're watching how your audience responds to them and the things that they do, and you're making notes like, oh, when he did that, my audience really, that's good. It also
you're in the chat with them.
Yeah.
You can have that conversation, and some of that material is gold because it's you connecting straight with your audience.
Yeah. And then with the smaller ones too, I didn't even think about this, but the smaller ones, there's something about, now he's blown up, our friend Jonathan Milligan. Mm-hmm. I mean, we started promoting Jonathan when he definitely didn't have a list of more than a few thousand people, and yet we introduced tons of people in our audience. We still hear about it from Phil and Gwen and Mary. I'm trying to think of a few others that we introduced him that we actually, I think that was probably it. Oh, Jim Folsom. We introduced all of them. Mm-hmm. They still follow Jonathan. And to them, it was we introduced them to a hidden gem.
Mm-hmm.
If we promote Jeff Walker, it's they've all heard of Jeff Walker. If we promote Ryan Levesque, the product's great. We sell a lot of them. We make a lot of money, but it's I already know who that guy is. I bought through your link map because I wanted you to get the commission and I wanted your bonuses, but it wasn't man, thank you so much for introducing me to Stu McLaren. It's I heard of him. I've been listening to his podcast for 3 years, dude. There's this I'm introducing them to underground heroes, and these people that they've never heard of. And it's really, really cool. These subject matter experts. And then we're growing our list together. A lot of times we end up in, masterminds together. We have a certain connection together. The marketing is a lot easier sometimes. And I don't know, it's a really cool experience to kind of do that together. So look for people who, they're at your level or one level above. Certainly the one level above can still be like they're not bunt singles, but you can hit some doubles with those people. Stop trying to go for the home runs initially. Again, you do enough of these, and eventually you wake up one day and you have a list of 45,000 people. And you can, so there's probably a lesson for us, Robbie. Let's do more of these with, some people. The third thing that we talked about was, I think what you called it, a list of demands to make. I called it things to ask for. I don't know. One of us was being polite, The cool thing about this is like with somebody doing a first time webinar, or even if they've done a couple, they don't know necessarily what to give you as an affiliate. So you as the affiliate get to set the rules. And we basically said to Alan, okay, here's what we need.
Right.
And he had to get it to us. And that's the cool thing about this is like you get to say those things. But he feels like, oh my gosh, you guys did such a service. Like he told me the other day that because we forced him to do it, it's like now he has everything ready for all these other JV partners.
Right.
All these people that he's doing webinars with. He's like, well, here's the file. It's already done. Like I know, here's your link. Here's the file. Here's all the images. Bada boom, bada bing.
Here's what the landing page looks like. He's done now, I would say 90 to 95% of the work. And it's just plug and play going forward for him.
And so when you're approaching somebody, the lesson there is, don't be afraid to hold their hand. Robbie, you were super helpful. Alan, I mean, I don't know if I told you this. Maybe I did. But when he and I were talking afterward, and we were just talking about like, how things went. He's like, I got to tell you, Robbie is, he's got a little bit of a southern accent. He's like, Robbie is just the nicest. He might be the nicest person I've ever talked to. I don't know if did I tell you that?
He didn't say that.
Okay. Well, yeah, he was super complimentary. And I mean, you spent what? Half hour? Maybe more?
I probably spent, a half hour to an hour with him. Just walking him through landing page setup and different types of emails that he would want to send, what his introduction automation should look like. Just, some of the stuff that as an affiliate we would expect. Because part of what we were doing was trying to set him up to do his future webinars.
Yeah, exactly.
And so giving him the tools and kind of the marketing ideas of, okay, here's what an affiliate's looking for. It's the same things that anybody watching this is looking for. What do you want? You want to have some swipe copy, right? You don't want to have to write everything that goes into all your emails. You want to have your landing page that's set up. You want to hope that when you're sharing, a webinar with your audience, that they have some sort of welcome sequence instead of just show up, because that gets really boring. So, he had a whole welcome sequence with his story and, phase that in over a couple of days. So everything that you're looking for as an affiliate, you can share that with somebody if they haven't done a JV promo before. And it's just an opportunity to kind of work with each other to build both of your platforms.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even, this is not why we did this with Alan, but we did it with Alan because he's in Start. So he's in our mastermind and we just we wanted to help him. I don't know that I ever would have done it for anybody else, but I'm glad that we did because it showed that we can help him. And then of course we succeed more because he has better marketing and he's going to remember that. That was just over a month ago and he just brought you up on the call the other day. He still remembers. When we talked the other day, was like, oh my gosh, you guys, that email that you sent, as an affiliate, because he's on our list, that email that you sent, I'm totally having, JV partners send that. It's like, well, you might want to edit it a little bit. That was a good email, man. Don't copy it exactly. No, I'm just kidding. But I think he's learning. And here's the thing, Robbie, when you do this for your partners, they will remember it, which means they will want to promote you more and they will want to tell other people to do JV webinars with you. And again, you end up expanding your list and expanding your influence and possibly they might even tell somebody, this is the thing I found is Alan's really good friends. He has 700 people on his list. Actually, it's now in the 800s because, of doing with us. But he has a friend, one particular friend that would be a really good partner for us that he's really, really tight with. Mm-hmm. Is another friend that actually is already one of our top partners, but that's not the point. But he has another one that would be a really good partner. And there's a certain level of influence there that, could mean good things for us. So anyway,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the other thing that I thought was really cool about this is it kind of put us in that beginner mindset again. Like sometimes it's really easy to get really far out there and be like, we know what we're doing and we're going to run these promos. And it was so good for us to step back and be like, okay, as a beginner affiliate, essentially, what do we need? What's the minimum swipe copy we need? What are the minimum tools that we need in order to promote this? And so having that beginner mind is just a wonderful way for you to check what you're doing and make sure that you're really connecting with your audience and doing that serving like we were talking about before.
Yeah, there's just a lot you can learn. I mean, that really is the ultimate lesson is you're going to learn so much from each other, and that's super powerful. The last thing, and you brought this up, you've added this to the list, we're promoting Alan again at the beginning of the year because beginning of the year, New Year's resolutions. I know you and I both agree. Like, I think New Year's resolutions are total garbage. I think, what is it about January 1st? Oh, that's a good time to set a goal. I set a goal just the other day, and it expires in the middle of February. Like, I don't need a new year, but
for 80% of the population out there,
perception
is a fresh start.
And they just think there's something magical about New Year's Day. And so they're going to set all these goals. And we know that the most common one is to lose some weight. So we have to do this. Like, it makes total sense for us to do this. Mm-hmm. And here's the cool thing is, we'll probably New Year's eyes it just a little bit, but on both ends, collectively, 93% of the work's already done. The 7% is me making it something New Year's related. You don't have to talk to Alan again, about this. He's a great guy. I know. I'm just saying you don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to talk to him. I don't have to do anything. There's nothing to be done. And then he and I both just, instead of like him being like, hey, can we get on Zoom 20 minutes early? Because I don't know if, we'll both show up 5 minutes early and do our thing, and we already know because we already debriefed about it. And so we've learned the lessons. We're going to apply them next time. And I personally think it's going to do 3 times better. That's just my personal belief. So
as an affiliate,
do these things.
Can I ask you, I'm going to ask you a question, put you on the spot. As an affiliate, like saying within a couple months of each other,
2 months.
how are you going to promote this to the same audience? Do you have a different angle? Is it, they're like, hey, wait, I've seen these emails before.
Number one,
because I'm thinking it's important because you can, as an affiliate, you can promote the similar or the same offer repeatedly. You can do that several times a year. And maybe that should be, for those of you setting your New Year's resolutions, maybe there's a resolution for you or a goal is to promote the same thing, once a quarter and see how that impacts your business.
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on the offer. When something opens up once a year, like product launch formula, like we're talking about, promote it once a year. We found, and I know I was talking with an entrepreneur, I won't mention Stu McLaren's name, but I was talking with Stu McLaren, and what we realized is about 20% of, and we found this to be true with actually a little bit higher with some of our stuff, but he found about 20%. We found it's about 1/3 of all affiliate sales in a given year were referrals from the year before. That means they opted in. Maybe they came to Stu's webinar, or they came to, Michael Hyatt's webinar, or they came to whatever. They opted in for the free video series or the ebook or the quiz or the assessment. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And they bought a year later. Part of that is, in a launch, it's 14, 17 days on average. 17.2 days is actually the average. It's probably about a bit shorter today. We haven't run that average in a couple of years. Launches are getting a little bit shorter. That's a pretty quick amount of time to be like, oh, I like this person. I feel that I can trust them. And I'm going to give them thousands of dollars potentially. Well, then they go a whole year of being on that list and they attend some of their Facebook Lives and they laugh at a few of their emails and they read one of their books and they're like, yep, when that thing opens up next time, I'm in.
Yeah.
And you get that effect of like literally when the workshop starts, for example, for Tribe, the first question that like 1,000 people have is when does registration open up for the course? And you're going, 1,000 people times $2,000. That means there's $2 million on day one if we don't get a single new person. You just know you're getting 2 million like that. it's a cool feeling as the product owner. But I say that to say that's the kind of shows you what happens over the course of a year. And so year to year, we'll promote things very similarly. Of course, the difference, we're looking at 2020. When we promoted Tribe in 2020, we rewrote the emails from scratch. I literally didn't even look at the emails from 2019. Why? Global pandemic, maybe? We were 6 weeks into a global pandemic. Not even that much. It was 4 weeks when it started, literally a month almost to the day.
Yeah.
Kind of needed to tweak things. We needed to talk about, the value of this from that perspective. Now, 2 months later, of course, we would not have done 2 months later if it was April to June. Let's think about what 2 months later was. We would not do April to June, but it made sense to do it at the beginning of the year. So yeah, the big difference will be that it's New Year's atized. Sounds like a George W. It's New Year's atized. I need to get my friend. Sorry. Oh boy. Wow.
We'll link to that.
I've got a good friend named John Morgan who's a George W. Bush impersonator. He's like, the other guy died. There were two big George W. Bush impersonators, and one guy, Steve, passed away, and John's the other one. And anyway, I should get him New Year's atized. We want to promote this for New Year, so it makes sense. We'll tweak it, and I know he will too, and he'll encourage him to tweak the title and a little bit of his marketing to fit that, like New Year, New You type thing. But otherwise, pretty much the same messaging. The one thing, just from a practical standpoint, of course, we remove buyers. So we will remove people who signed up for his offer. That makes total sense. When we promote PLF every year, we remove the buyers. Mm-hmm. There's no point, We might even, this is something we'll talk about, Robbie. We might not segment out, but segment to the side people who clicked. We don't look at people who clicked because we want to include people not only who registered, but people who clicked over to the replay, because that didn't require registration. And so we'll look at okay, these people probably watched some of it or registered. They got his follow-up emails, blah, blah, blah. They know what's coming. We'll probably take those and segment them over. I don't know, it'll be 500 people, 400 people, whatever. We'll take those 400 and they'll kind of have a slightly different path where I'll probably address the fact that, hey, this webinar that you registered for back in, November, well, he's doing it again. And now's your opportunity. It's a new year, blah, blah, blah. And that's about it. That'll be the extent of the difference.
Nice.
So there's things you can do like that. If you have people.
I think that'll be helpful for our audience to see that, how, you can just change a couple of things and all of a sudden you have a whole new perspective on promotion.
Yep. So here's what I'll say. For AIM members only, we're going to tell you at the beginning, click here if you want to opt out of this campaign, basically. This isn't for you. Don't ever do that with our emails or anyone else's emails, because you want to watch the marketing. We talk about this so often in AIM. Become a student of marketing. Fall in love with marketing. There's a reason why I don't unsubscribe from very many marketers' emails. Even though I get a lot of emails, it's because I want to study them. So I recommend not clicking there. You could be 6 feet tall, 181 pounds, and you're as fit as a fiddle. I don't even know what that means. I literally no clue, but whatever. You could be fit as a fiddle, as they'd say down in some parts of somewhere. And this isn't for you. Still watch the marketing. Watch how we do it. That's my advice to you. So I hope you got a ton out of that talk with Robbie there. I just think that it's interesting to talk about some different things here. Speaking of different things, we got a couple of episodes coming up that I am particularly excited about. I want to let you know about. We've got one with Richie Norton, all about time management is dead. How to reclaim your time and get bigger results with my friend Richie Norton. He and I go back, oh my gosh, so far. He's been one of our top affiliates over the years. Just meant so much to me. He sent me a text the other day that made my week. You got another one all about how a first-time affiliate finished in second place in a big launch with Tasha Shore. And then, guys, it's the holiday time. Can you believe it? When we hit mid-October, it's time to start thinking about Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So we're going to start our annual holiday series. This year, we've got 5 episodes planned from mid-October through mid-November with some of the best tips, all new tips this year. I'm sure I'll say something that I've said before, but all new stuff for 2022 that I can't wait to share with you. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any of those episodes coming up. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if you got questions about this or anything else, you can text me anytime, 260-217-4619. I'd also love to hear your biggest takeaway from today. With that, we'll wrap up, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening today. Remember to check out all of our deep dives into affiliate marketing at theaffiliateguy.tv. And if you have a question, ask it at asktheaffiliateguy.com. Who knows? Maybe you even be featured on an upcoming episode. And lastly, if you haven't yet, make sure to leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this episode. See you soon.